Okay, perfect. So, you guys, I hope you're doing well. I hope your morning started very well. So, in today's breakdown, I'll first of all check with you guys where we are at the dollar index. So, from the bigger perspective, with the month of March, and if you look at what has been happening for the last 3 months, we've been having a bearish push for the dollar. So, if you look at the first, the second, and the third candlestick, the monthly candlestick, you're bearish. Now, if you look at the current structure, technically, we can see that we have this particular zone of around 1.2, 102.00 area as a psychological zone and 100.160 price level as an area of liquidity. So we anticipate probably once the market comes in here, we are going to continue pushing up. So if you check on what is happening on the daily time frame, structure-wise, we see that we have some liquidities that are seated at 102.4. Let me show you 102. Let me delete this one. We have this structure which simplifies or tells us this black candlestick. So you can put your. So I'm anticipating probably dollar to drop all the way to this area before maybe we start going bullish from the technical perspective. Now, when you see this, that simply means we're gonna be looking for buys for the pairs that have got a correlation, like a pair like as we anticipate the dollar to continue dropping. That means for Gbpusd, Eurusd, we should also be pushing to the upside before we have the long-term set. That's why when you go to the charts, I'm going to show you on the monthly, daily, where we are expecting to have some nice swing points or swing sales. So if you go to H1, look at just the recent transaction, you can clearly see that we are still also on the bearish push, like we are still bearish on the dollar, because I don't see any indication or confirmation that we are pushing up, because look at the momentum here. Market is still very bearish. The market is still very bearish. Now, so after having a look at the dollar index, we can look at Eurusd, we look at GU, we look at GJ, we'll as well look at which other pair? Gold, tutaangalia, pia EuroJPY, and so on and so forth, so that you can identify a few intraday setups, as well as see if you can, we are almost getting to our swing trade or our swing points. So starting with the EURUSD, I hope you guys can see my screen, huh? Okay, perfect. So starting with the EURUSD, the recent structure, I think I need to do a bigger time frame breakdown so that I show you where we are heading to and what I'm expecting. So if you look at the monthly time frame, we had this structure. So if you look at the monthly time frame, we had this structure. And then price formed a formation, came here, formed another formation, then dropped, formed another formation, then dropped. This was the previous structure, which was bearish, which meaning that bears were dominating the market, right? Then now, the recent structure, we've been bullish. The first point that price showed us that we're going to be bullish for some time to come and consume the liquidities at these areas is the moment the market came and traded above this price level or this formation here. And when price did that, it started forming some liquidation. Of course, it formed an outside formation at this area, came, consumed it, and then again price formed another liquidation to come and fully consume any left liquidities that were even at these weak overlaps. Then later on, the market also came, went up, and since then it has not traded above this level. Now we have had a shift. We have had a shift point, which I'm going to show you clearly on the daily time frame. And then right now the market had an imbalance here, which will be able also to see it on lower time frame. That's why we had this reaction coming here, because ukiangalia vizuri sana market ilikuja hapa imetap imeenda. So where we are, I'm anticipating for us to do a full consumption of this formation as an area of liquidity, E level. Then from there, we will have a full consumption huku juu, and maybe to another direction. But you understand very well, the market doesn't move from one point to the other point directly. It has to form some liquidities that will give it momentum to push to the direction of the trend. Right, so guys, those who are here and the beginners, don't worry. I'll be having a session with you to help you understand some concepts. So now, tukiwa kwa make sure when in this meeting you have your mic muted so that we don't have distractions. Make sure your mic is muted. So tukiwa kwa where we are from the monthly perspective, which other area of liquidity do we have that we can use as a confluence to take our swing point? So I have this area hapa juu. It is a type 5 of liquidity. It's a type 5 of liquidity. Then the normal way the other retail traders look at things, they could say that these are equal lows. Say these are equal lows. But I'll say something about this now. If you go to the daily time frame with the time frame alignment and coordination, just to see what is happening. So we have that structure, the extreme structure, upper juu. We have this extreme structure, and inside that extreme structure, we have a type 3 of liquidity. We have a type 3 of liquidity, which is here. And that is the zone that when we'll be looking for buys, sales, we'll focus from getting our entries from that point. Guys, once you join the meeting, make sure your mic is muted, because you might be in a noisy place and you'll cause distraction. Let us learn this simple discipline so that if you can't follow those simple instructions, I'll just remove you from the meeting. Simple as that. So we have that area pale juu as an area of liquidity from the daily time frame, of course, refined from monthly. Then at the recent zone where we are in terms of price, we have a type of liquidity here, which is type 2. We have a type of liquidity which is type 2. I'm talking about this particular zone. There's a type of liquidity which is type 2. Type 1. When I'm talking about type 1 of liquidity, you will find it's more of like bullish. It's more of like, what do you call it? It's more of like a bearish engulfing. Tapata, we have a candlestick that looks like this, something like this. So tapata market in a form kitu kama hiyo, and then ukiona the week of the previous candlestick, which is a bullish candlestick, and the candlestick that dropped, lazima the week it close ama it react above the previous week of the bullish candlestick, or the last bullish candlestick, and then the body and the week of the previous candlestick, which other people call it an order block, should close inside the bearish candlestick. So if you check on that, this is a clear projection of what I'm showing you at this particular area, right? Are we guys together? Because I realize that people don't, when I'm talking about these types of liquidity, they don't understand what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm talking about. Now, at this area, since it's an area of liquidity, that's why you have a reaction. You see, market imekuja ina react hapa. Ukiangalia how this candlestick closed, it is how this candlestick closed. The body didn't close above this area. We got a reaction. Then we have some sellers pushing price. If you look at today's candlestick, it's more of bearish. So now, how can we get an entry to swing from this area as an area of liquidity? There's one thing that I want you guys to understand. As a trader, we are in a probability market. So you follow your system, and then based on experience, and you'll be able to make money. The challenge is many people, they get scared when it comes to executing trades.
So,
Kevin.
Yes, I want to ask how are you doing? So I want to ask a question. As if that type we're having relative equal, those weeks aren't they equal?
Pardon?
Aren't those weeks equal?
These ones. Let's check.
Yeah.
I didn't have a key in, but let me. No, I think the bearish black candlestick is above. If I try to adjust this line, you see, the black one is a little bit above.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yes, so it's a type 1. Okay, perfect. So, guys, if you're here, now you realize we are in a probability market. If you fear to take trades, you lose money. And if you fear losing money, you'll blow your account. What I mean is, once you have an approach in the market, apply risk management, take any trade that you see following your criteria. It either gives you a profit or you get a loss, or there are also ways on how you manage your trade. Now, so basing this as an area of liquidity from the daily perspective, of course, plotted, if you go back to the monthly time frame, it might be a week overlap. Yes, actually, it's a zone of a week overlap. If I draw it the better way, need to delete everything. Okay, from the monthly perspective, I think I'll use different lines. We had week overlaps at this particular area, which simplify or which signifies an area of liquidity. So I'm using the red line to present my monthly area of liquidity as week overlaps, so that we go to the daily time frame and get to see what is happening. So when you go to the daily time frame, that's where now we find this structure. So when we refine it, we go all the way to, I'll use the daily time frame line. So we can have our entry around this zone. We can have our entry at this zone. So if we refine, change the colors, we have the green line. Then we can as well have these. So the green line represents now my daily area of interest in terms of liquidity, where we have a type 1. Of course, here we have invalidation, but now, how are you going to take entries based on this as our first area of liquidity? If this one fails, we have a structure that is above this area, which is at this particular zone. I'll show you. We have this structure, which we could probably say it's an outside formation because, okay, we had a high point shift. Yeah, this is an outside formation based on the upside area. There's a high chance if maybe where we are, price fails to hold, we'll be looking for our buys from there. Now, sells from that particular point. So where we are, how can you get entries based on confirmation? So what you're supposed to do, the moment the market has reacted inside this area and you didn't get an entry, if you go to 1 hour, of course, we can use several concepts. We can use liquidity engineering. We can use liquidity flow. But again, now that price has reacted at that zone and the candlestick has closed inside the area of liquidity, we anticipate to see a confirmation of liquidity flow before we go further. So if I go to 1 hour time frame, oh, Ngare, are you in this meeting? I just started without recognizing your presence. So if you look at 1 hour time frame.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I know you are in a meeting somewhere.
Yeah. I just joined,
Okay.
but I won't be long. I'll be popping in and out, but hopefully in an hour's time I'll be completed.
Okay, no wahala. So now this area, guys, if you see this 1 hour candlestick, it is a momentum candlestick. So that's why for those guys who are in here from the previous session, we were looking for entries from a flip. And if you see, I want you to look at these things keenly. There was a reaction from this green line is acting as a flip zone. There was a reaction from this area. And if you look at how much the market delivered in terms of pips, there's some, okay, it delivered almost 70 pips. For Euro USD, 70 pips is a lot because Euro USD in a day, it moves ranging from 40 to 50 pips, maybe 60 When we have high impact news, that's when maybe you can have up to 80 or 100. That's why on this green zone, price was reacting because of the flip zone. So as a trader, you want to find a way on how you're gonna get. Actually, the flip zone could have been here. You had to find a way on how you were supposed to have that entry and take advantage of those. You see, yes, the flip was around this area. So now, the 1 hour time frame, we can clearly see that price has come inside all this zone, and it starts outside this green area, this green candlestick. Change the color, maybe you can be able to see it. So price imekuja. So we need to confirm liquidity flow and see where can we get some entries and dive with it. So from the daily perspective, if we get a confirmation, our first target should be here. Let me show you. Based on, this is based on structures. So our first target should be here as an area of liquidity. So we use the higher time frame to know where to have our targets. Then that will be our first target. Then from there, we'll go to the extreme point. If the bears will be strong enough from that weak overlap that is acting as an area of liquidity from the monthly time frame. So if I go back to 1 hour time frame, what do we have? Number one, remember this now becomes our okay, furthermost deviation, this scenario. That becomes our furthermost deviation on 1 hour because price went up. I'll assume that as a consumption, then came inside, and then you're seeing this reaction. So if you look at this chart from 1 hour, initially we had a structure that was pushing price to the upside. The market formed first the liquidation inside that area of liquidity, of course plotted from the daily time frame. So when I'm talking about area of liquidity that has been formed hapo juu, kulikuwa na hii structure ya hapa. Unaona? Na ukiangalia market iko ndani ya hii structure. Now, if we say that this is our FMD, this is our highest point, then we could assume that this is our, if price comes and trades below, if you have any candlestick that will trade below this area, guys, I want you to be keen on this. If you have any candlestick body candlestick that will close below this area, or rather even, let me see, yes, we have price pushing up. So if you have a candlestick that will close below this area on 1 hour, I might be looking for a sell opportunity. Let me show you. I'll be focusing on looking for a trade at this inside formation. Are we guys flowing? Let me see in the chat section if you're together. So I'll be focused. I'll be interested to look for a trade from this area. So I'll have something that looks like this. So let me try to draw it right. So I'm anticipating probably to have, because we are in a daily time frame area of liquidity. Just a moment. I want to do something right. So I'm anticipating to have. Two things. I'll show you something. Alex, down on a note screen. What is your intention? Okay. Alex, I can see your drawing on the screen. So, so we have this. Okay, we have this. If I'll have a body candlestick closing below this area, then that will act as my shift point, and then I'll use this inside formation to look for an entry. Then these are for intradays, guys. And once I have my entry there, if I'm targeting a minimum RR of 1, 2, 3, then I'll have something like this. We're gonna be able to check how big is our risk and how our reward looks like. So that's around 9 pips. So I'll make it even 10. And then I can target. Remember, today we have CPI, we'll also be talking about. So I'll be targeting this area. So that's an RR of 1 to almost 1 to 4. So we have that, and I can target up to this point. So that is my first trade idea on Euro USD. Now, price lazima body candlestick close above hapa, and then I will now wait for price to come. So something like this. I will wait for price to go back inside huku ndani ndio niweze kusell nikitarget hapo chini as my first target. Based on what price delivers, I'll be able to know how to manage the trade. Now, remember, there's also a possibility, as much as that is an area of liquidity, which is plotted from week overlaps, then we came to daily, and you've seen how prices reacted. So if you use 4 hours, just to confirm something, you can clearly see we have a long week rejection from the upside. And then where we are, we could have a flip. Okay, let me see 4 hours. Then we have a type of, okay, which you need to go to type 5. Hold on. So Euro USD, this is what I have. This is what I have on Euro USD. So this area is acting as my daily area of liquidity. Is on e-price level, in act come on my daily area of liquidity. So if this setup fails, if I don't get a valid sell setup, my next point of interest for sales will be upper. I hope that is clear. Guys, remember, we trade based on what price tells us. We trade based on what the market or price action is telling us. Now, for the case of bullish setups, the market doesn't move in a straight line. For intradays, you can get a trade from any point and you're good to go. But the first thing is always plotting a directional bias. So I'll go back to daily. Tumekuwa bullish na price iko happy. So kuna hizi two zones nimezichora hapa. Kuna hiyo zone ya juu na kuna hii zone ya chini. Kuna hiyo ya juu na kuna hii ya chini as my areas of liquidity. These will be, if I go back to monthly, let me go to weekly. If I go to weekly time frame, it's a flip, it's a week overlap. If I go to monthly, it is hidden. So we call it camouflage, right? So now, I think we have that. Is there anyone who has a question on Euro USD before I move to another pair? Maybe you're seeing something different, or maybe you have a different opinion. Or
on Euro USD, that
yes.
1 hour, as if we have an overlap above that area of liquidity.
Pardon?
As if we have an overlap above that area of liquidity that you have just indicated. On the 1 hour, isn't it?
An overlap on 1 hour. Are you talking about this zone?
No. Within just above the area of liquidity that you had marked on 1 hour, where I want to see price tap and shift lower.
Okay.
On the other weak rejection, the extreme weak rejection, then
this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
An overlap.
Is ready to pair.
So something like this?
Isn't it? Because that happened on
successfully.
Just a moment. Okay, before I go there, let me go back to where I was and then I check on something on 15 minutes. Just a minute. There's a structure on 15 minutes. I have this structure here.
The Bluetooth device has been disconnected.
Which is a type 5.
The Bluetooth device is connected.
But you know, now that I'm using 1 hour, I look at what is clear. But now that's on 15 minutes, you know, this is like it's like an hidden structure, which is actually now coming. If we use this as an overlap, it makes sense to me, because then this could be another area of entry. This could be another area of entry, even if you decide to put your sell to be 20 pips above the wick or at the FMD, you're still safe. The most important thing, okay, for me, I don't like that. There are some setups or there are some pairs that I don't need to have. Euro USD, the maximum stop loss should be 10 pips, because I can be able to get up to 5-6 pips. The thing is, the difference maybe between me and the other traders is the broker that you're using, because there are brokers that have got true zero spreads. So that's why I can now, because you know, anytime you're getting a stop loss, you should give an allowance of up to 2 to 3 pips extra. So I think it was who was talking. We have these two possible areas. Let me just show you. The overlap is showing us like a formation, which is there. And then if I go back to 1 hour, okay, the overlap for 1 hour, it's there, which is a formation on 15 minutes. It's a consideration. But remember, will only be able to make that decision. Change this color. We'll only make that decision if only price, the 1 hour candlestick closes where I've placed a shift point. That's when we'll be able to know that we're going to look for a sell. So 2 possible areas. Let me make it simple for everyone so that we can have a common approach. So if I put my entry here, for example, and I put my stop loss here, that is 23 pips. There are people who can do this. They have a 35, then they target whatever RR they want. But as far as I'm concerned, so this is my first area of interest where I can get a sell with a stop loss of 6.6 pips. And the other area is this zone, which is around also 6.6 pips. But because of the block, I can add. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me mute out. So kuna hiyo, so unaweza ongeza extra ya some few pips. Just understand what broker are you using. Are you trading a prop firm, so that usikuwe na exact SL ya whatever. You can give an allowance based on the broker you're using. You understand the spreads. So you give an allowance of 2 to 3 pips extra from what I'm giving out. So there's that area. You can do this. And then we also have this. Our sales will only be valid. Our sales will only be valid. Any RRA 1 to 10 kama set up. It will only be valid if the current 1 hour closes below kuchini, and then it will pay liquidation ya 15 minutes, itaturudisha hapo all the way to 1 minute, and then now ndio we drop. Anyone who has a question, the guy was asking about overlap. So I think I've seen it as a formation on 15 minutes, which is at that area hapa juu. Anyone who has a yes.
I still have a question. So before you consider the overlap, yeah, most cases you have to check on the lower time frames to see if there's a formation.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is 15 minutes.
And there's this. But we get the possibility of price mitigating that inside formation before it even makes a shift. So
then that means I like those questions are very nice. So that means if price comes and okay, you said if price comes and mitigates this area of an overlap here.
No. I'm saying if price there mitigates this first formation that you have, where you're focusing your sales first from, before it making a shift. So what will you consider?
Okay, let me make it simple. Right now, I'm considering this area as my shift point, right? If price comes and mitigate this before coming to this shift point, okay, maybe something like this. Let me show you. If price comes and taps in this area, maybe, and then comes and forms a shift point, then my extreme point will either be here or here, because here you know, this is near the FMD. Let me show you. Hold on. This is our FMD. Then on this near the FMD, I can consider this type of liquidity. So sometimes now you use, when you don't have a clear formation, I just use any type. So near the FMD, I have this type, which is more of type type 1. So, and you know very well, when you do too much refinement, we might miss an entry. So what I'll do, let me show you just a moment. So if price comes and mitigate these before forming a shift, I will be keen to wait, and I will use the lower time frame shift points. Then that tells me I'll consider these and these, because at the top here we have a type liquidity. You know that.
Okay.
It's a type, still it's a type 1 based on what I showed you when I was starting the session. So that simply means the whole thing is, guys, risk to reward. As much as you take a trade, we really don't need, it is not a must. We have a very tight stop loss, but the thing is, have the best setup with a good risk to reward ratio, because even if you decide to do something like this, if maybe that fails, and you put your entry maybe here, and you decide, you see still that is like 20 pips. It's also a good zone to consider. But you know, if you have these and we have these, so whenever I have okay, if I can't have a shift confirmed here, I'll go to the extreme confirmation that is near the FMD, which is now this last type of liquidity. I think that is answered now, and I can even decide to put my sell at FMD and maybe give an extra of. Then from there, now I can be targeting 1 hour area of the next target, which might be around this. But you know, you need to know how to manage your trades and take partials. I think you're answered. Let's go to another pair. Let's check on it's not supposed to be a class. You guys need to be in the next. It's supposed to be an analysis. So nikianza to explain, I waste time up. Anyway, let's just check on another pair. Then I'll look at gold. This is supposed to be a live analysis. Tukianza kufanya kama class tutakaa hapa for a lot of hours. Anyway, so let's look at Gbpusd, what we have today. But questions are allowed, guys. You can ask them. I'll answer them in our sessions that we have later on. So if we have, we look at monthly time frame, where are we in terms of price? Number one, guys, it's very important when you're also doing your analysis, check different servers. What do they offer you? Because if you can't check on different servers, sometimes you might miss. Okay, I'll check on that. You might miss some nice opportunities. I mean, you might miss some important information that will guide you on how to take trades. So if you look at forex.com, these are supposed to be formations on monthly time frame. I think this one is supposed to be one of the formation, but it can't be seen here. If you go to Ohanda, I believe we can see it as a formation. That's why I think I have this here. Now, in fact, I'll use Ohanda for this specific explanation, so I don't waste much time. So looking at what we have on the monthly time frame, the green line represents monthly area of liquidity. Sorry, I mean, yes, the monthly area of liquidity. This, which is refined on daily time frame. So we have an overlap here. We have an overlap on which is a formation on daily time frame. So if you go here, we have it as a formation. So it is the same case. Guys, there's one important thing I need to mention. As much as we have the correlations of the dollar, let's say if the dollar is buying, we are anticipating, for example, pairs like GBPUSD, EURUSD, in short, pairs that have got the USD as a quote to sell. But now, You don't just sell randomly. You need to get confirmation so that you know. You need to get confirmation so that you know where to sell from. You don't just say that dollar is buying, I will sell. No, you have to align with how you do your analysis. So from the downside, these are our areas of liquidity. The downside, areas of liquidity. People will call them demands also. At this particular area on the daily time frame, which was a week overlap on monthly time frame, it's a formation, it's a structure. All these, we have it here. So there's some areas that have not been consumed in terms of liquidity. So where we are, I will always say this: price doesn't move in a straight line. We could get some nice setups. These are just short-term opportunities. So considering the recent area that we have as an area of liquidity, which is here on the daily time frame, if you go to 1 hour time frame, just checking on finer details. If you go to 1 hour time frame, we also have a type of liquidity, which is near the FMD, furthermost deviation. So hii area yote ni our daily area of liquidity, but now we need to look at what we have. So of course, this was supposed to be, this reaction was supposed to be based on flip. This reaction was supposed to be on flip. Angara, you can confirm that with me, right? This reaction here hapa. Because if you look at it, this was supposed to be based on flip. If I'm not wrong. That's why you see price came tapped. We always say that any failed bullish setup is the best bearish setup and vice versa. Yes, that was supposed to be a flip. But now, since price has come inside here, we need to look for finer things that we can consider. So we have a type 5 and we have liquidity engineering. So let me measure the number of pips. The thing that makes us to go to lower time frame, it's our risk. That's around 14 pips. So if you give it some extra pips to make it 20. So I'm expecting to have some nice shots from where we have that black line. If you see where price is, it's inside. The two green lines represent the daily area of liquidity. Okay, monthly as a week overlap, refined on daily, it's an area of liquidity as a formation. Now, that tells us for this specific pair, we might maybe, for us to be safe, I will anticipating for a full consumption of liquidity. Maybe I need to see price coming all the way uku, then either taps there and goes. If this entry we miss, we'll now use other concepts to confirm liquidity flow, and then we'll get some selling entries around this zone. So what I'm talking about is actually, what I mean is this. For example, let's say market imekuja ikatap hapa juu based on liquidity na ikaenda. Ikikuacha, you need to come to 1 hour and look for liquidity overflows and look at maybe something market afanya kitu kama hiyo, ianze kuenda, so on and so forth. So ikirudi ikufomia structure ingine, you can maybe use a structure like this to get a re-entry. That's just one concept. I cannot consume everything that I need to talk about, and then maybe you can get an entry from here to take you to the next area of liquidity based on, of course, following the right time frame combinations or time frame alignment. Now, so today, in terms of where we are today, we need to look at the recent areas of liquidity. So we have this structure at this particular point, which has not been tapped. And then for those guys who understand when I talk about impure liquidity, so we have this area. Then if I go to 15 minutes, I can even use the 30 minutes. On 30 minutes, in fact, it's showing me very well. That is an impulsive candlestick. Better confirmation is on 5 minutes for me. Now, with this structure, I have two things. I have two things here. Inside that area on 5 minutes for refinement, I will consider to have my entries for buys. One price comes here. I I'll consider to have my entries inside this particular point. I can refine further and have my entries here for buys. And now let's just go to 4 hours and see if you have any clarity. So this recent structure, for 4 hours, I'll look for buys from that refinement. If I look at what we have right now, this is our recent area of liquidity on 4 hours. Do we have any candlestick closure? Yes, we have a candlestick closure above. Then, okay, I don't have any shift confirmation to the downside. So what I'll do here, maybe the moment market will come and close below this particular point and gives me a formation. Maybe let me show you what I'm talking about. Maybe you see prices started selling. If maybe it comes, maybe creates a formation here on 4 hours or a structure and then causes a shift point here, I'll use this as an area of entry. Confirm for me, of course, with better alignment, then target this first area as you go to the next area. So on the daily, on the 4 hours time frame, that's what we have. On 1 hour, just trying to look at possibilities. On 1 hour, we have a lot of noise. On 1 hour, still I can see our extreme area of interest. Because you see, for Gbpusd, we cannot trade all the pairs the same as much as we are using the correlation effect. For Gbpusd, if I put my line here for the normal traders, okay, if I use this, we have body closures above this price level. Now, we could wait for price to come here. We look for buys to deliver us to this area. Let me show you. So to have price coming here, and then once price imekuja hapo, it will deliver huko juu tufanye full consumption, alafu ndio tuteremke the liquidation, if you understand the liquidity cycle convoy. But now, based on the 1 hour structure, if you are intending to sell and target the next area of liquidity, I'm just, guys, giving you ideas of intradays setups. So tukiangalia hapa, if I use this as my highest price point, I have that area. Then if I look at to the left side of my screen, I need to see structures that have, okay, I could, we have closure up, perfect. So then this becomes my shift point. On this shift point, I'm showing you a scenario for sales. On this shift point, I have inside, I think this, I can term this as an outside formation because it's near the shift, but will still be outside, an inside formation. So here we have a type of liquidity, or we have a formation-based type of liquidity. So we have that, and we have this structure here. So in such case, a scenario, I'll go to the extreme structure, and then let's see if you have finer details on. First of all, we can measure the risk, and then we go to, we can measure the risk, and then we go to lower time frame and see how good the setup be. Because the end goal is to look for the best setup. So if you look at the risk, if you're using that is 6 pips. So if you put it here, maybe give it extra, it will be 10 pips. The thing is, you're looking for a setup that will deliver us inside this area. Already that is an RR of 1 to 4 that will deliver us inside huku before to rudi huko juu tupate nini, we get full consumption. So I'm showing you a scenario like this. So tukipata a confirmation yenye to deliver huku ndani, alafu of course huku pia, I hope as you're following, you understand you're getting something. So turudi huku ndio tuteremke based on the aspect of liquidity consumption. Now, that is the first scenario for Gbpusd. Maybe you can go to 15 minutes and see if you have much information that will give us, okay, nice. Based on this, let me show you something. You see this area, it's an area of liquidity because it was acting as support. Price reacted, then we had an impulsive candlestick. The market came to react here, but it didn't really touch. So that means we could also use this as our extreme point. Kwa wale watu wana trade sijui ICT nini, this is an order block maybe. But so that means based on our approach, we trade based on confirmation. So tukiangalia hiyo area, tuko na hapo in pure liquidity with a momentum candlestick. So you could have also an entry at this particular point. So two possible, for sell setups, these are possible areas to sell from. Sometimes when you have a small stop loss, you don't need to refine so much, because if you refine so much, you might lose a trade. So that is 8 pips, so you can maybe make it 10 pips. If you're here, maybe those guys are allowed to join here and you've not been able to be in a community where people have tight stop loss. It's so unfortunate for us. We look for tight stop loss based on our approach, because I know some people are used to big. So someone online having a stop loss of 60 pips with a take profit of 40 pips. That's sure. So I think Ngare, you can confirm with me. Those are my. So we have that first area. So if I go to 1 hour, I'm just showing you guys possibilities. So tuko na hii, alafu the extreme point ni yapi? Hapa juu. So you know when you're doing this live analysis, I don't need to keep reminding you. So you should be here, concentrate, mark those price points, and then once price reaches there, know what you're supposed to do, because you already know what you are risking based on your account size, and you also know how to enter. Those who understand exactly how we take our entries. So that is on GU. So maybe I'll wrap it. Okay, hold on. So GU for a sell scenario. What I want you to know, on GU, we are still on a bullish trend, and we are targeting to have a full consumption. Because why? We could have started selling because already we have seen a shift points inside this area, but to realize we have body closure above this. We have body closure above these. The people call them equal highs, whatever. So we have body closure. So inamaanisha there's still a chance of price heading all the way. Huku ndio utakuwa natafutia swing points zangu za kuteremka na hiyo market. But so long as you're in these live sessions, we'll get these trades together. So whatever is happening, as I say, price has to go for any unconsumed liquidity before it continues the trend. Yeah, that's the purpose of this live analysis, is to emphasize on what we've been learning so that we get live examples and try to practice with them. So that is on GU. I believe you've heard what I said. So which other pair can we look at? We can look at DJ. Is there, I think I need to get any member of the community mwenye ako na ability ya kufanya. I cannot share everything. Let me see. Is Leonard in this meeting? Leonard?
He's in.
Yes. I don't know if he is in position to share maybe a few setup. Anyway, maybe if you'll be in position, let me know, Leonard. But let me just go to other pairs. Let's look at DJ. Then I'll be finalizing with gold. All these drawings, I think I was doing them when I was in the meeting. So anyway, use DJ. So these are some of the swing points that we have on DJ. I think I can delete all the things here. Try to delete kila kitu. Tuanze vizuri. So I like viewing my charts from monthly so that I understand what we have. Let me try to break it, guys. So monthly time frame, I'll do it very fast so that we see how. Now, number one, we have this area of liquidity. I like starting my charts so that I get clarity, so that I know the direction where we're heading to. So this is our first area of liquidity for bullish case. This is what drives us to the upside. And then this is our area of liquidity for a bearish case. We have a type of liquidity which is type 1. So I'll put my whatever, my lines all the way to near the FMD. Of course, we have validation and validation, but anyway, so let me put it like that. Now, from this time frame, we go to the daily time frame. But before that, I want to show you something to do with the liquidation. Now, You see, when this price was pushing to the upside, it formed these structures. This was the first structure, price came inside, consumed it, and then again came consumed, and then the market from here. Kwa wale watu ambao nimekuwa nikiwaambia hii kitu, nataka tuelewe hii vizuri. Monthly utapata these are constant time frame that gives clarity in terms of direction. So utapata we have something like this, and that is exactly what we have here. Then our market imekuja itufanye kama tutaendelea kubuy, tupe confirmation hapa 184.887. It's my important level to look for buys. I'll break down to that level and show you. So if you understand the liquidity cycle convoy, there's a way you could have gotten an entry, of course, from up here all the way to downside. I might show that now. Hold on. Just a moment, guys. I need to delete this. Now, so tukiangalia hapa, for me, price has, of course, we have another liquidity huko chini, but it will take time to fika huko. So price imefanya consumption hapa. Then market ikapanda juu, ikarudi ikakuja consume structure. Are we together? So the only area I'm interested in is where we have this long wick rejection and this particular area. So Ngari, if I can't see anything, you'll just type on the chat section, maybe if there's something I'm not able to see, so that we see together. So, which means on our monthly time frame, that's what we have. So if you go to the daily time frame coordination, guys, if you go to the daily time frame, those guys who are in KVD, I know some of you are floating. Don't worry, you're going to have some foundation classes about our method of trading. So tukiangalia hapa kwa daily time frame, kuje to focus on the recent structure. So tukiwa kwa the recent structure daily time frame, we have price. You see this? Ulikuwa na key formation hapa. So to me, I feel like we are bullish, but we are not yet bullish for GJ. We are still bearish, of course, based on liquidity flow, because from up here, we had a shift point here, price went back. If you go to lower time frame, there's something at this area. Yes, I think I had an entry here. And then market went down, formed another type of liquidity. We had another, yes, there's a shift point here, and then we have a type 1 here. Price came inside, consumed, dropped. Are we guys flowing? And then it came all the way to the downside near this structure. Then with that, we had another type here. Because if you go to lower time frame, market came, took this entry, then we dumped. Now, the last recent areas that we had of liquidity, we had this formation around this area. There's a trade, if you remember earlier setup, Lingianga na almost 5 lots. There was a setup of this particular area. Then we dropped with it. So let me now come to, so you already understand directional wise. So directional wise, in terms of where I'm selling up to and where I'm buying to for the long-term perspective. Hold on. I have this, I know my coordinates. I think it's 184.87 something. If I refine, I'm sure I'll get that area. So it's 184, I'll refine it. So let me make it black. So, chani delete hizi vitu ndio nisichanganye watu. So tukiwa kwa daily time frame, tushaelewa tunaelekea wapi, tunaenda wapi, natoka wapi. Huku juu kuna unconsumed liquidity. Hizi ndio tunafaa tukujie. Probably market ikifika kwa area yetu huku chini. Market ikifika kwa area yetu huku chini, bado tutaiangalia vizuri sana. 184. I think it's 184. 78, 184, 78, 184, 184, 87. Yes, that's an area that I'll be buying from. I'll refine to that area. So, as far as we are concerned today, ukiangalia vizuri sana kwa daily time frame, the structure is very bearish. The structure is very bearish.
No.
Okay, I think. Okay, all right. Are we guys following? Let me see on the chat section, because you know I might be making a lot of noise. Let me see on the comment section if you guys are following.
I wanted to ask something about the monthly time frame. Yeah?
Yes.
about that consolidation part, where we had consolidation before price came into weakening within that area of liquidity, then to push the upside. So is it whenever we have a type of consolidation, is it eligible to consider that area as sufficient area of liquidity?
Whenever we have a consolidation, is it?
Yeah, like where you have just marked proper. Then behind these black candles, blue candles, black, that consolidation.
I'm talking about this area.
No, no, this behind.
Oh,
this behind.
Okay, hold on. You're talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about that area.
If you can use it as a consideration.
So now, within that consolidation stage, should we always take that to be as our sufficient area of liquidity whenever price forms something of that nature? We normally consider, yeah.
Of course, if you go to lower time frame, okay. Do you understand liquidity consumption very well?
Yeah, I do.
You see, now let me just try to show you something. If you look at structure, as much as it's a consolidation, price was trying to print some liquidities. This was based on the monthly time frame. For me, I'll consider this as my first liquidation, second liquidation, and then third liquidation. So the first liquidation was consumed by this candle, but although it has not fully consumed it, but I believe it has consumed it more than 75%, almost 80%. If you look at these weeks here, because look at this candlestick and this one. So this was the first one, second liquidation, and then now the third candlestick, bearish candlestick. Okay, this last bearish candlestick, which was forming our last or our third liquidation, which this market came to tap in, it has also come in and it has fully consumed the second liquidity phase, which is this one. So I consider here we might have 85% of liquidity consumption. So for me the next area I need to consider is this area where we have a weak rejection, this one. You see this candlestick? Now this is where I'm considering for now. You know, as much as this is an area that I'm considering. So as much as you have a consideration, we might have much more details when we go to the first situational time frame, probably the daily time frame. Again, if we try to shift the cycles and maybe we use the weekly cycle, I believe I might even gotten that price level. Let's try to check on weekly cycle and see if you have finer details or maybe you have much information. Now, if you look at weekly, you can even now clearly see some things. Then we have this price came tapped in. In fact, these are type 1. You see these? Hold on. Ngare. Guys, okay, I like the questions, my brother, but I feel like we might spend much time to explain some things here. So I'm going to suggest this. I'll introduce back the evening hour session. Ngare, if you can hear me, then we can do, because the intention of this live session is just to look for setups, because if you go to all this, it might take me, I don't want to stay here for more than 2 hours. Just the questions are very valid because you're here for learning, but I feel we might now focus on maybe even after the live breakdown later on in the evening, we do a session with recaps for both failed and performed setups. I believe that will help us save time and do a lot of things, because I believe if I sit here for so long, I might waste time and I might not get opportunity. All right? Yeah, so I think we can be in the evening at 8 p.m. because there's a session we are introducing. Tukianza saizi tutafunza sana na ita waste a lot of time, and we want to get those trades. So allow me just to allow me just to try to what we do. Allow me to just get trade ideas, and then later on in the evening we'll be doing recaps. Then we'll be giving out assignment, and then end of the week we'll be checking out on that so that we see where we'll be doing assessment to individual students or mentees. So nikubalie kwa sasa nisiende sana kwa a lot of explanation, kwa sababu pia kuna watu wana float sana, they are very new, they might not understand some concepts. And the good thing is there's a master class that is starting on Friday, so it will be a very big advantage. Yes, whoever was asking for a record, I think this session is being recorded. So after this, I'll upload it on YouTube. And I also don't want it to be more long so that guys can go and watch it. Now, looking at GJ on the daily structure or on the daily time frame, what do we have? First of all, for me, I'm still considering this because there are setups that. Okay, that is great, Willie. So there are setups that there are things that whenever I see on the market, I believe to me it's a strong liquidity. Now, if you look at from the above here, this is a liquidity flow. Sorry. This is a liquidity flow. It's not happening. Hold on. This is a liquidity flow. Okay, this was a shift point. Price did that. So I can start from even here. This area is a consideration. You know, the first thing is always directional bias. As far as I'm concerned, as I told you guys, I'm anticipating the market to keep on selling GJ. Then I'll be having. I still feel like it's not high time. It's not the best time to buy. To do much. It's not the best time for me to go for my swing, my buy swing. So nikifanya refinement, entry yangu actually iko hapa kwa black line. So I feel like the market, or I think based on what I understand, the market will still push huku chini. Kikuja huku chini, huku ndio nitakuwa na focus kutafuta buys za kunitoa hapa chini zinipeleke huko juu. Are we together? So that is directional wise. That's what I have. But now, based on intraday setups, so if you go to the daily time frame, what do we have? In the first place, our strong area of liquidity plotted from the daily time frame. This was a formation, and we don't have any candlestick that has closed above here. So we could say this is our area of interest. We have a type of liquidity, which is type 1, this area. And then at the bottom, what do we have? At the bottom, we also have some sort of type 1, the wicks. Then is it backed up with anything? Okay, let me see. Here we have also, okay, we had a consolidation here. So we need to go to the lower time frame and see what price is telling us at those particular areas. But remember, where we are focused so much on is where we have stronger liquidity, because hakuna any candlestick imeclose. We don't have any candlestick in imeclose. I think I had a setup even delete kila kitu so that I can explain. So hapa tuko na hiyo, putting my on the wicks. So that could be a very nice area to sell, to look for sales. If I try to see body closure, no candlestick that has closed above that in terms of body. So which means we might still be selling. Then, although there's something that is happening here, it could be a shift point. But this shift point, has it left a formation? Let me see. Okay. Anyway, so if you go to, you can check on 1 hour, then we check on 4 hours if you have details. So if I come back here, the daily time frame, remember these two green lines, these two black lines represents our daily area of liquidity as a type, which is a type 1. Now, hapa tuko na nini kwa H1? What do we have? On H1, we see we had a momentum, bearish momentum to the downside, this massive drop. And then what is price printing? We have a type of, I think we have some type 2 and some type 5. So I can put, we can put our Gbpjpy there. Then, let's look at what is happening on this was the previous structure, the previous trend, and then we have this. All right. Now, if you look at the final indices that we have, we had this as our lowest point on 1 hour time frame. Then we could say we had, I want to look at a shift point. I would say this is my shift point. Then we have this formation here, which is a type 5. then price went, it has not consumed this, and then so after of course shift imefanyika, kulikuwa na some easy liquidities hapa chini, so kuna hiyo price went, came, gone, and right now you can see there's a consolidation here. You see there's no momentum. Remember guys, today we have CPI. Maybe we'll be doing a live later on during the CPI so that you guys can understand. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm anticipating or I'm expecting probably price to come in Uju, then I'll be looking for sales. So maybe to try get a confirmation, let's check on what is happening on 4 hours. Then before I go to other time frame, on 4 hours, what do we have? Okay, on 4 hours we have an area of liquidity. Okay, if you check on 4 hours, we have this. And above here, we have some sort of reactive engineering. So which still gives me much confidence. We are aiming to get inside here, and then we will be looking for shorts. All right. Let me try to check on 30 minutes if I can get some details. Are you guys following? Let me see in the chat section if you guys are following. Let's see 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Okay. If you're following and you're learning something, let me know that. So just want to get to look at things clearly. Those guys who don't understand how we trade, once you understand this, you'll be enjoying our sessions. For now, just get what you're getting, but later on, you'll have a chance to learn. Now, so we have this. We have this. Okay. So go to 30 minutes. All this is a consolidation. It's more of price is just not doing anything serious. Okay. Then we have an imbalance. That is 30 minutes. Let me see if I have any kind of liquidity. And if I look at the chart, I'm just enjoying. I know someone else is also enjoying. Gary, I want to chat na fry. Okay. Even if we had a structure, we have a shift. Okay. So, based on one thing I called impure liquidity, one of the best places I expect a very nice reaction. Let me educate you on something. Anytime you see price doing something like this, I mentioned this in the pre-session that we are doing. Yes. Okay. So, ukiona mahali ambapo price imeform kitu kama hii, then momentum ikapick from there, or even go to 3 minutes. Just know that when the market will come back here, it's going to do some massive push because you see this crazy momentum. So, based on what directional wise, if you go to 1 hour, it shows you this. If you measure the risk, this could be a very nice area too. It's around 20 pips. Of course, if you refine, you'll get an SL of up to 10, 15, but 20 pips is not bad. So for now, as far as I'm concerned, I just expect, I'm anticipating for price to push up, then we drop. So to sell, of course, based on confirmation. So tuangalie huku penye tunataka tuingilie sales, tuko na nini hapa juu. Of course, these two blue lines are plotted from the daily time frame. So let's check on 15 minutes if you have any valid reason that will give us entries. So if I check in here, number one, I see some sort of there's that area. Then we have this structure here. Daily, 1 hour, 15 minutes. If your SL is big, we go to lower time frame to refine. Remember, sometimes too much of refinement, you can miss entries. Now, tuko na hiyo. First of all, check the bits. Guys are saying it's their first time, but they're getting something. That is nice feedback. going to do a structured class whereby I'll start from the basics. That is 20 pips, 16 pips. Then if you check here, six pips. So for GJ, turudi kwa wana wa kwanza tuone hiyo entry iko wapi. For GJ, number one, I'll be interested to sell from these 2 points. Hapo hiyo ni 7 pips, so I can put my sell to be 20 pips. My sell yangu itakuwa kwa the next entry yenye nitakuwa natafuta, so nitakuwa interested to sell kutoka hapo. Then if I make my sell 20 pips, if I look for a minimum RR of 1, 2, there are some trades that there's some setup that can give you, so nitakuwa na target hii area. Hiyo naona ni RR ya 1 to 8. Sawa? Haya. But of course, if price goes up, this will be our first area of interest, which will also gives us a minimum RR of 1 to 3. So tunaweza kuwa na kitu kama hiyo, because hapa nita expect something. Then, if that setup fails, my last hope or my last area of consideration, I believe this is more of like liquidity engineering. Let me see. I mean flip. So nitakuwa na hiyo area ingine ya kuwa na interest nayo. Okay, I can have something like this. Let me show you. So tuipe stop loss ya 15 pips. Then hiyo ingine nataka tu define tuone tatupea nini. I think it's supposed to be here. Now, the first entry is based on this formation. Let me check on 5 minutes. I can get some hidden things that I haven't seen. $24 pips. So what I'll do, that flip, liquidity flip, kuna much information ambayo iko hapa juu. So yeah, so my first area of interest ya kusell ni hapo, then my last area of interest ya kusell ni hapa. Can even put my sell at FMD. So those are my two possible areas of selling, and the market goes up. Then I can make each trade to have a equal stop loss on 50. So inamaanisha nini guys? Acha nisaidie watu wengine. Inamaanisha kwa mfano ukiangalia hizi trades zote zita deliver sana, minimum RR is actually even like 1 to 5. So if this okay. So if I go to the daily time frame, you realize it's inside our type 1, like tumefanya refinement to the furthermost huko juu kabisa. So tukiamua, if that area will be strong enough, then we might even be coming to clear all this bullshit huko chini tukiendanga. That's how trading is done. So it's you to know how to manage the trades and know what you are looking at, targets that you're looking for. So if it delivers, if this
and
yes.
Okay. And if I am to add on to that, yeah.
Yes.
This is a daily, really high time frame, yeah.
Yes.
We find that our entry is almost at the week of the previous day, yeah. Hapo juu kabisa.
Yes.
Hence, most of the time when you see types, people usually say you enter at the week of the first one, and it's actually similar, almost there, but not quite there. It's a bit more refined. That's why we get more things. I wanted you guys to like see that.
You know, there are people who wonder, how did you get your entries on the weeks? It's just knowing what you're doing, understanding the liquidation process, understanding your refinement approach, and understanding how to execute. Because you can do all these things and then your execution is poor. So that is the thing. So guys, that is on GJ. So we might be looking at those areas. And you know, guys, if a setup fails, let it not make you feel bad. So let me just touch on something. If let's say you're trading an account of if let's say you're trading an account of una trade account here, nionyeshe the reality now, because vitu zingine kuna watu wanaweza kosa kujua wa mess up, waanze blame games, you know. So let's say una trade account ya hata acha niweke, because najua kuna wakulima wadogo hapa. Sema una trade account ya hata 100 USD, waamue kwa hii trade una risk hata 5%. Pesa zingine ni kidogo sana mpaka mimi naonanga ukirisk vitu zingine as make sense anyway. So 5%, you'll be using a lot size of 0.03. That is, if the trade hits you, you lose 5. Unaweza more risk 5% of $5 on your 100 account. So inamaanisha ukiangalia vizuri sana, if you are patient enough, so utatumia losses ya 0.003. So inamaanisha setup zote moja ikifail ama sema tu moja ya accept, if we go with that, you'll risk $5, but if you're patient enough to hold the trade, it will give you $5 times 33. How much is that, guys? $5 times 33. I'm talking about the reward. $5 times 33. That is like 165. Utakuwa umetengeneza almost 165% of your account. That's why those guys who were in the session I was telling you are more of swinging than easy vitu za makelele mingi. But you know, you can have an intraday trade and then it ends up being a swing. But you know, once you understand how to align timeframes, understand which position or area of liquidity are you, is it a stronger area of liquidity? You know, it's easier for you to make yourself how to manage that specific thing. Because if you use your daily time frame as your constant time frame, of course, it is a fast situation when it comes to the monthly cycle. But maybe if you use daily time frame as your constant, then you can use 1 hour structure to manage your trade for intradays. And then when certain levels are being broken, that's when you know if you're supposed to place your stop loss at break even. Because let me show you a scenario. Let's say kama market ilikuwa ina sell, setup imekuwa valid. Market ikianza kusell, I'll not be quick. This is my selling point. Market imekuja ikaanza kusell. Ikiform structure kwanza iende, so ndio utapata nimeweka kama stop loss yangu ilikuwa hapo, ndio drag niweke kwa break even, because sasa najua no, I will first of all wait for this liquidity to be consumed. Sasa ikisha consume irudi hapa iende, sasa ndio nitakuja niweke sell. Hapo nitakuwa sell. Because you can have a very nice setup, you don't know how to manage it, you're taken, then the market goes to a direction even 1,000 pips. Then you're like, it's so painful, you know. So that is on I was just showing you a scenario. So kama uko na account ya $100, that is it. Kama uko na account ya $1,000, sema ufanye the same risking. You'll use a lot size of 0.3, you'll risk $50. If you hold that trade, you'll make $1,650. You're trading let's say an account of maybe on account 100K USD. Simple things. For me, for 100K USD account, I always do a maximum of 0.8% per trade. So that means with a stop loss of 15 pips, I'll use a lot size of 5.3. So in a management, to risk $800. If I can be able to hold that trade, that is $800 times 33. That is 26,000 USD. So nikipigwa payout hapo ya 80%, that is 21,000 USD. That is it. Now, let me now finalize on gold. Ama kuna mtu ana feel kuongelea gold, na feel nimeongea sana. Anyone who feels like, all right, finish up. Let's look at gold.
I was thinking with Kevin angalie BTC, unaonaje? The one who's been asking questions. I was thinking Kevin angalie BTC USD before you wound up on gold.
Okay, Kevin, are you in position to share your screen?
Yes.
Are you in position to share your screen so that you can take us through it?
So that I can do what? I'm not done asking.
No. We want you to look at Bitcoin and let's say make an analysis on it, an insight on what you see on the charts.
Make analysis on what?
BTC USD.
Oh.
Are you close to your computer?
I'm not close to my computer. I'm using a phone right now.
Oh, okay. It's okay.
Maybe at night.
Okay. So Kevin, we'll be having Kevin at night, huh?
Okay.
It's okay. Come on, otherwise, if you can get anyone else to look at something.
Pardon?
If we can get anyone to look at gold or BTC, it will be very nice, eh?
Okay. I'm sorry, I was a little bit out. What were you guys saying? Ngari, what did you say? I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Kevin says that he's not on his computer.
Okay.
So I was like, if anyone else is available, they can come on the chat and say one, two, three. Yeah.
Okay.
And Kevin suggested that he'll be available at night. So to make sure guys one, two, three things at night. Huh?
Okay. So I think, guys, because of time, it's 1 hour, 30 minutes since we start this session. So what I'll do, I don't want to make it so long. We can have other sessions later in the evening. So if you remember very well, we are still bearish on gold. We had a setup yesterday, which you were taken out. Let me just summarize this. Then I give you what I'm looking into today. So I was in the meeting. I didn't concentrate yesterday. This setup, nilikuwa nimeka pending order, ilikuja ikanigonga. So I could have deleted it because there's something I saw, but I was so busy, I couldn't really manage the trade. So I realized it has taken me out and it was not supposed. Now, if you look at, still, we have been on the daily area of liquidity, which was a formation. I'm talking about this price level. I'm on this particular price level. Understand? I'm on this particular price level. You understand? There was an inside formation here, and that's why price has been reacting at this area. Now, if you look at how the candlestick anatomy, you have a lot of weak rejection. So whenever you see a price level being touched so many times, it is becoming weak. So there's a high chance you're going to break this zone and keep pushing up. So just with that, if I go to 4 hours time frame and look at what we have. Let me mute this. So if I look at what we have, remember, we have CPI today, so we might have some nice push. I think I can delete all these things. So if you look at what we have, this is our point of interest from the daily time frame, and the price has not, there's no body candlestick direct closer. But if you look at how price has been coming to this one, sorry for our daily time frame. Yes, we had that formation refined. We had some nice sells from that zone. We also had some buys from the 4 hours. We had some nice buys from, I think there was the other time we had buys from this area, from this structure point or this area of liquidity. Ngara, I know you remember, and the other guys who were there previously. So tukapanda nayo huko juu. So saizi tukiangalia vizuri sana kwa 4 hours. when you look at things to do with FTA, there's something I'm noticing. I don't know why I still feel that we might push lower structure-wise, but now that we have other aspect, we don't need to really be fixated to bears. We might also push up, take some liquidity before it drop down. The story will always change anytime. So tukiangalia vizuri sana hapa tuko na nini? Number one, if this is our highest point, if this is our highest price level with the recent structure, yesterday I was basing my entry or my sell entry based on something to do with this area, which we were taken out. If I go to 1 hour, we had a type 3 liquidity. I think we had a type 3 liquidity at this area. You see this one? We had a type. That's why but the wicks came and took us out. So that's why we had an entry is around this area. Tulikuwa na entry ilikuwa based na wapi? Hapa. But market ilikuja ikatweak na imekuwa ikirenjia hapo. Now, if you look at the liquidation process on lower time frame, you'll understand something. So, for today, because we have CPI, but during the CPI session, I think I'll come live and we do some breakdown together and see possible areas that. For today, I have this. Let me show you. Just a moment, we finish up.
We are not audible.
Oh my goodness, I've been making a lot of noise. Sorry. So I was saying this. We have CPI today. And since we have CPI today, there are some areas that, okay, let me delete. This was yesterday's ideas. I'm sorry for that. I was talking along. So I'm saying today, I'm interested at this particular area because if I look at the 1 hour structure, I have a shift here. Then I have these double areas of liquidity. So I'll go to the stream. So I'll be interested to look for buys from 2896.19. Then once I buy from that area, I'll be targeting 2936. I'll be targeting 2936. Now, the thing that I want you to also understand, we're having some sort of consolidation. Maybe once we are targeting the New York session, market might start pushing. So I'm going to focus to buy from here. Now, my area of liquidity today that I'm interested in is the 2896 and the 2936. Of course, when that happens, that means we'll have a reaction above the zone that we've been having a lot of reactions, which is might be becoming weaker. And if you have that, just know that the next push will be now targeting. That's how trading happens, guys. You don't just be fixed. Lazima uelewe what nini inaendelea. So tukikuwa na hiyo, sasa nitakuwa na target hii zone. In fact, I'll be aiming 23,000 level. I'll be targeting 3,000 level. I'll be targeting the 3,000 level, which, of course, now that we have CPI, itatupia clarity. So tukiingililia hapa, okay, I've not refined. I'm just giving an idea. I'll refine later on and share setup in the group. So from here, huku juu hiyo ni karibu 1,003 pips from hapo chini hadi huko juu. But you know, market doesn't just move like that. But for gold, it has if you get a nice price level zone with liquidity, it can, because ukiangalia kama hii price ilitoka huku chini ikaenda 1,186 pips bila kurudi. So today I'm interested in this zone. So I'll share refined setups later. So hapa nilikuwa interested kutafuta buys. So it's my first area of liquidity. Huko ndo naangalia. So kuna mtu ako na swali mpaka hapo? I feel we have come so far. Is there anyone who has a question? So I'm going to upload this live recording on YouTube. I'll share the link so you can go and watch it later on, maybe to learn from it, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to stop the recording, then I allow questions.